Today I want to give you some tips and motivation for decluttering your space, becoming more minimal, even if you don't want to call yourself a minimalist. We're going to do this in alphabetical order. Let's hop right in. Allow yourself grace. Remember, this is a process. You are on a journey. In fact, one that never actually ends, because even if you get your home totally decluttered and minimized and clutter-free, you still have to maintain it. So allow yourself grace. Remember, you're going to grow and learn along the way, and just be really gentle with yourself. Become a clutter gatekeeper. I have talked about this before, but I love the idea of always being on the lookout for clutter. When you get into a drawer, check for garbage. You open a closet, look for a game or a coat that hasn't been played with or worn, and just take it out, put it in the donation. You can do this so easily throughout your day, and if you're just constantly looking for garbage, broken items, and clutter, by the end of the week, you may have decluttered quite a significant amount. Create solutions for problem areas. Sometimes it's really hard to just work with what you have. It's hard to accept that this is what I've got to work with. For example, I don't have a mudroom, so when you walk in the house, you just come right into the kitchen. My family has taken their shoes off in the kitchen ever since we lived here for the last 2.5, almost 3 years, and it is so frustrating. But I decided to just give up the battle, to quit the fight, and put a shoe basket in the kitchen. Not ideal, but I created a solution working with the habits that we already had created and the space that we have. Decide fast when you are decluttering items instead of mulling over each thing, and that is so tempting. And normally what happens is you talk yourself into the item. The longer you hold on to it, the longer you think about it, the more you come up with reasons to keep it. So decide in 5 seconds or less. If you can bump that down to 3 seconds, even better. But to start out, 5 seconds is your max. Make quick decisions and you will be likely able to get rid of more if you keep this rule. Embrace open spaces. This is something that was really hard for me when I first started my journey of decluttering and minimizing our space. I thought, oh no, it's feeling kind of bare in here, or it's, you know, the pantry's looking kind of empty. Like, do we have enough food? Amazing once you realize that your home is just able to breathe. These open spaces are incredible. Your eye has somewhere to rest when it's not just constantly taking in information and visual clutter. It actually creates more calm and peace in your home when you have empty corners and blank spaces, and it just contributes to this peaceful environment that is amazing. Find a home for everything, even if it is in the junk drawer, utility drawer. That's where it belongs. I actually broke my utility drawer down and categorized areas and items into Ziploc baggies. Everything has a home. It is remarkable because you're just not left wondering where this goes, and it ends up on the kitchen table or on the floor for weeks on end, and clutter attracts clutter, trust me. It really does. So if everything has a home, you know exactly where things belong. It helps your family, help you tidy up, and it helps you realize that maybe there are things in your home that don't belong because they don't have anywhere to be. They don't have anywhere to live. If your items don't have a home, they don't belong in your home. Gifts are just clutter if you don't use them. This is a really hard one. So tough to accept that gifts really are just clutter if you aren't utilizing them in some way. Now, this could be a beautiful piece of artwork that you've hung on your wall. This could be something you bring out seasonally, but if you bring it out every season, it's something you use and enjoy regularly. But if it's something you've shoved to the back of your closet, or if it's like tucked underneath your bed or in a forgotten box or in a storage space, the gift is just clutter if you're not using it. So if it's something that you do want to keep, find a way to use it. Have a plan. How are you going to declutter? When are you going to declutter? In my recent video, it's the last video I posted, I broke this down for you. I will have that linked in the cards now, but you've got to have a plan. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail, and that is a fact. Thankfully, there are so many resources out there, but to give you a couple examples, are you going to declutter in the mornings, the afternoons, the evenings, when your kids are napping, on the weekends? Are you more energized in the morning? If that's the case, you're working with what you have, you're going to declutter in the morning. And then keep these appointments with yourself. Invest in systems that work. For the longest time, I really wanted to just make the bins and the organizers, the boxes, whatever it was, the baskets in my home that already were in my home, I really wanted them to continue to work. Sometimes this isn't always the case. I recently decluttered and organized underneath our bathroom sinks. This was an investment. This was not cheap, but I finally learned and realized that you have to invest in systems that work, or you end up wasting money in the long run, because you just go out and rebuy different organizers, different solutions to fit your needs, because the cheaper one or the thing you already had didn't actually end up working. So try it out. Try out the bin and the basket that you already have. If it doesn't work though, go ahead and invest in a system that will. Jumpstart each decluttering session with a 5-minute trash run. If you're somebody who's lacking motivation, if you're feeling like it's really overwhelming and hard to get started, set the timer for 5 minutes, grab a garbage bag, and run through your house. This is just kind of gonna pump you up and get you going. It starts the ball rolling, and starting with trash is a really great way to begin because it's easy to get rid of these things. Keep track of your progress. I know it sounds cliche and you might not want to do this, but it is so cool to take a before and after photo, especially when you start feeling down, like, oh no, I haven't made as much progress as I was hoping, or I am not as far along as I was thinking I would be. Take a before photo so that you can reference it and see how far you've come. Live with your decluttered space for 3 to 5 days before you move on to your next area. This means declutter, let's say the entryway. You are going to every single day go back and re-declutter this space, check on it, maintain it before you move on. This gets you in the habit of keeping areas clutter-free. It also allows you to really see the benefits of having a decluttered space. Manage donations immediately. It can be so tempting to go back out and pull things out of the bag and let them creep back into your home if you don't take things to the donations instantly. If you can't drive it to the donation, put it in the trunk of your car, but you have to manage this stuff right away. Don't let it sit out. Don't let it kind of fester in your home. You're able to make and see real decluttering progress when you've gotten this stuff out of your space. New items have to have a home and a purpose in order to come into your space. What I mean by that is, before you buy anything at all, make sure you know exactly how you're going to use it and where it's going to live permanently. I used to grab so many things, especially from like the Target dollar spot, just because I thought they were super cute, but it would turn out that I'd get home and I had actually nowhere to put the item, display the item, and really no way to use it, so I cut out this habit altogether. Open every drawer, closet, cupboard space, everything in your home. When you're making a list, and I highly recommend you do this, of all the areas in your home, this is part of your plan, that you want to declutter, list everything. Every single drawer, every single closet and cupboard is included in this. And once you commit to going through your house, this specifically and this detailed, your space will become completely transformed by the end of, let's say, a year, which is how long it took me to declutter 85% of our family stuff. You still have to maintain, but you will have made unbelievable progress in every corner of your home. Prioritize the high traffic areas of your home. I mentioned a minute ago your entryway, high traffic area. Prioritize this. The areas in your kitchen, like the pantry and the refrigerator, high traffic areas. You might want to hit these first or put these on the top of your list of areas to declutter, because these high traffic areas, once you minimize them and declutter them, your life begins to completely change for the better. Questions to ask yourself: would I buy this again? Would I pay to store or move this item? You are actually paying to store items in your home. It costs something to heat your home and maintain your home. It definitely costs you something. Are you willing to continue paying for that? And then, have I used it in the last 6 months? These are questions that you can ask while decluttering to really help you make these decisions, and you can ask them quickly. These are the questions you're asking yourself in those 5 seconds that you're holding up each item. Rest. Take breaks. I actually burned myself out bad when I was first decluttering my space. I went hard for 4 months and ended up burning out. quite significantly. Taking rests after each decluttering session or at the end of the week is so important. It keeps you recharged, and don't feel guilty about this. You need this recharge. Set realistic expectations. Don't expect your house to look like someone else's. It's not gonna look like mine. It's not gonna look like the home on Pinterest. It's going to look like the best version of your house, and that is incredible. Embrace that by setting realistic expectations for what you have to work with. It doesn't matter if you don't have the resources or the money or the time to redecorate. It's totally fine. You can completely transform the way you live and reap these benefits just by getting the clutter out of your space. No redecorating necessary. Time yourself when you're getting started. I love the 5-minute trash run at the beginning of a decluttering session, but I also love just setting the timer for 10, maybe 15 minutes. And when you're done, you're done. Declutter with a box. You can close the lid, push the box to the side. You haven't made a mess, and go rest and take a break. It is so important to have stopping points in your decluttering sessions. Otherwise, you might be too overwhelmed to begin. Utilize the prime real estate in your home. What I mean by this is, let's take the kitchen, for example, kitchen cupboards. The cupboard space that's easiest for you to reach, your everyday dishware needs to go there. So use the real estate in your home that is the easiest to access for the things you use most often. Don't put the seasonal dishes in there or the tablecloths you use only on Sunday right in this really easy to reach area and space. It doesn't make sense. That's your prime real estate. Look at everything in your home and see where your prime real estate is and have your everyday or most used items there. Veto mess makers, the toys that come with a million little pieces. Now, I do make exceptions for puzzles and games on this. Those are like mess makers. They have a lot of little pieces, but it's a project that you can do all at once. What I'm talking about is the balls that come in the ball pits. There's like 100 balls and they get thrown all over your house, making huge, huge messes and causing you time and grief. Toys that just have a ton of different little parts that you find the pieces of strewn all around. Get rid of these sets. They are not worth the grief. And then try not to buy things that make huge messes in your home. Work on your own stuff. Man, this can be really hard, especially when you're feeling like, I need my family's support. I need everybody on board with this because I want to make, a lot of progress in my home. I want to get into every drawer in every single room and declutter everything. Your family might not be ready for this, and that's okay. You can still make insane progress just on your own. Chances are you can declutter the kitchen, the entire kitchen, and no one is going to raise a fuss about it. It's really amazing what you can accomplish when you just focus on your own stuff, the areas that you are in charge of, and then hopefully your family, and likely your family, will be inspired and motivated by you, and they will catch on in their own time. Excuses, I know, I'm taking a liberty. Excuses will always be there. Excuses to keep something. It was a gift. I remember when I loved it. I spent a lot of money on it. My kids, used to play with this, and I have a happy memory. Try and really limit the excuses you allow yourself to have to keep an item. If it is something that is absolutely treasured, pull it out and use it. Display it. Have it somewhere in your home where you're actually able to enjoy it. Don't just shove it in a storage box and put it in the basement or the garage. Yes. We're telling yourself yes. Now, this one again, once we get into the XYZ, you've got to kind of take liberties. Say yes to a more clutter-free space. Yes to more freedom. Yes to more time. Yes to more peace in your home, because it's not a mess all the time and you don't have to spend all this time cleaning. I feel like sometimes when it comes to decluttering, we feel like we're saying no. We're saying no, we're rejecting these items. We're saying no, I don't want those memories, or no, I don't, want this gift, which feels hard because are we rejecting that person? You're actually just saying yes. And once you kind of switch your thinking, it becomes a lot easier to get rid of those items. Zone your home and designate specific areas as clutter-free zones. The entryway I mentioned a couple times, but the entryway is a great spot to have as a clutter-free zone because it's the first space that company sees and the first space that you potentially see when you walk through the door, depending if you're coming through the garage or not. But it is a really nice place to zone out. I love having my bedroom as a clutter-free zone. I try and tidy it up every single night before I go to bed. And this is just a space that I like to keep as a sanctuary for myself. It's a space that I know I can escape to and feel more peace. I don't allow a lot of toys in there. I try and keep the decor really simple and minimal. This is my zone. This is my clutter-free zone. I have a playlist on the screen if you need more tips and motivation. I will see you over there.